Where is the best place you have ever been to? That's the real golden question that every traveller has been asked at one time or another. Names such as Thailand, Australia, the Maldives and the Bahamas often come up, and there's little wonder why. Yet there's one dreaded destination that always seems to pop up and tends to elicit some eye-rolling groans from many travellers around the world. Bali. This tiny island in the distant corner of Southeast Asia is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. The mere mention of its name will usually elicit images of white sandy beaches, tropical cocktails, and of course all served beside a stunning infinity pool overlooking the beautiful landscape. The ultimate paradise. However, it couldn't be further from the case. Bali has to be considered as one of the most overrated travel destinations in the world, and I'm going to tell you why. Bali is only one of 17,000 islands that make up Indonesia. The country is placed right in the heart of the colliding streams of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, leaving behind turquoise oceans and vibrant coral reefs. In fact, Indonesia has more coral reefs than anywhere else on Earth. Indonesia also finds itself precariously standing on the formidable Ring of Fire. At the heart of many of Indonesia's islands are the very same volcanoes from which they emerged from. The resulting ashfall from these megalithic beasts ensures that the lands of Indonesia are some of the most fertile anywhere on Earth, and as such, each island is a lush tropical paradise. Despite being one of many thousands, Bali has always managed to transcend its national identity, with many geographically challenged people actually thinking it's its own country. While its sheer popularity alone is enough for many people to know about it, there's more that lies beneath the surface. Bali is the only predominantly Hindu island in an otherwise Muslim nation. While the rest of the country has more of a strict stance towards religion, morality and intoxication, Bali has always been a bit more accepting to foreign behaviours and ideals. That's just one of the reasons it became so popular in the first place. It's not really difficult to understand why Bali is loved by so many. In every sense of the word, it has the makings of the ultimate paradise. This tiny tropical island is lined with breathtaking beaches and crystal blue oceans. The dramatic landscape extends all the way from pristine rice terraces to gorgeous waterfalls and sputtering volcanoes. It's an island of intoxicating spirituality, amplified by the numerous temples and undeniable natural beauty. Better yet, it happens to be one of the cheapest countries on the entire Earth, ensuring that luxury isn't going to be that expensive. Though most importantly of all, for the loud minority, it's the perfect place to get absolutely shit-faced. And therein lies the problem. Much like how Bangkok has become a crucible of foreign debauchery and inebriation, so too has Bali. Every beautiful feature of this once great island has been tarnished by the sight of drunken parasites and weekend travellers that suck out any form of culture or decorum with their mere presence. The beachfronts and the streets beside it have been massacred with high-rise hotels, copy and paste souvenir stores and fast food chains more than you know what to do with. Visitors are hounded with the offer of tattoos and magic mushrooms, and each and every person will have to walk through the dreaded enticing chorus of massage. The once pristine beaches are now overflowing with trash and jet ski rentals. Culture has been replaced with convenience, and what made Bali so special in the first place has been completely bled dry. I already know what some of you are going to say as well. Oh, it's much better than being in the UK, why are you complaining? Meh. Yes, that is true, I never denied that, and I never would deny that somewhere like Bali is worse than the streets of the UK. Of course, if you hand me a ticket, then I'd be going there right now. But that's not the point. The point is that Bali is overrated. It is nowhere near as good as some people would claim. And people will say, well, why even say anything? Why not just keep your mouth shut if you have nothing nice to say? But there's a very important point to this. Grab your phone right now and check how much a flight would be straight to Bali. because I can already predict it's going to be a multiple of hundreds, not to mention accommodation for a week, all the meals that you have there, and of course some excursions along the way. So after you pay all this money and you arrive and you see and find out that actually it's nothing like what you heard it was, it's nothing like how people described, that what you find is nothing more than a piss up of Western tourists coming together for nothing more than a party, I would be fuming. So it's good to know a different perspective. This is something that I heard many years before arriving in Bali, that it's a paradise, it's this, it's that. But everybody tends to forget to mention the people laying pissed up along the streets, vomiting across the place. Nobody mentions that the majority of people that you see there will be foreigners rather than local people. Nobody will mention that the hotel that you booked is most likely going to be in the center of this complete madness. The fact is, it is overrated. It is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the best tourist destination in the world. Far from it. Now, to be fair, this isn't a problem unique to Bali. The UK has Ibiza and Zakynthos. The US has Cancun. And Australia has Bali. Being just a short international flight away from Aussie families, fuckboys and fashion influencers alike, then it's the perfect excuse for a little getaway. For the rest of the world, Bali is one of those bucket list destinations that hold promises of cocktails and sunsets. Or, more accurately, it's the favoured spot for people who lack a little bit of imagination and simply want to travel to where everyone else is going. And those people who don't really enjoy travelling. So these type of people don't really want to come to Bali, as opposed to having a place with nice weather, nice beaches, and of course a complimentary breakfast. Or worse, they simply want to be in Asia's biggest party scene, where they'll have cheap booze, tampered narcotics, and battered prostitutes on tap. EDM clubs and casual STD exchanges is sadly the biggest motivator for most people to come to this beautiful island. But again, this is not a problem unique to Bali. All the places we previously mentioned, Bangkok, Ibiza, Magaluf, Zakynthos, Cancun, Tijuana, they're all the same. They've been completely savaged and destroyed by the toxic tourist trade. And there are plenty of other spots too that have also been ravaged by the travelling community. Of course, a vast majority of the travelling community show great respect, that simply want to travel to be able to experience different cultures, different places and different peoples. However, the people that visit Bali are not there for that. For the most part, it's these people we've been mentioning, the party animals, or people who don't really give a shit about the local culture or the local people. Many who will have been to Bali or even live there currently will completely disagree with what I just said, that it's not just all EDM clubs, cheap booze and cheap hooas. And they are absolutely right. The vast majority of Bali's toxicity is segregated to Denpasar, more specifically in the region of Kuta. And it's these people who have painted this narrative. They would have you believe that the streets of Kuta really are the Shangri-La that you've been searching for this whole time. Their piece of Bali is overrated, while the rest of the island is criminally overlooked. The rest of the island is in complete contrast to the alcohol-fueled streets of the south. It's covered in picture-perfect rice terraces and jaw-dropping waterfalls throughout. Then if you don't have any of those, then you have active volcanoes and stunning cliffs falling down to turquoise oceans and vibrant coral reefs. It's more like what you imagined a lush equatorial landscape to be like, or more accurately, what you hoped Bali was going to be. If that really is the case, why paint the entire island with the same brush? Because that's exactly what the party-hungry, convenience-demanding tourists do themselves. What they claim to be Bali is nothing more than a collection of novelty streets filled to the brim with all the needs and demands of your average tourist. It's the definition of a tourist trap. For them, spending the entire vacation in alcohol-fueled raves and beside luxury pools in fancy resorts is all the evidence that they need that Bali is amazing. Thus, responses to the question, what is Bali like, should be taken with a heavy dose of skepticism. I fully admit on my part there is a bit of an elitist attitude when it comes to travelling. And it's not because I think I'm better than anyone or that nobody deserves to be to the places that I have been. It's more the fact that these people don't deserve what they're experiencing right now. A great proportion of the travel community do it because they want to immerse themselves in the local culture and to experience a different way of life. Others travel in search of sandy beaches, cheap booze and venereal diseases. While some are travelers, others are tourists, and it's the latter that's ruining it for everyone. Any sense of authenticity a place has quickly starts to vanish once you see tour buses and Bermuda shorts. Curious fascination will be replaced by resentful anger towards those who don't show respect to the place that they're standing in. At the end of the day, it feels that everyone else has to pay the price for your convenience. Much like DiCaprio in The Beach, there's a very good reason for wanting to keep a place as a hidden gem. The irony being, of course, that the island where it was filmed, Koh Phi Phi, has itself turned into a bit of a tourist trap. Once you lose a place to the toxic tourist trade, it's gone for good. The problem I have with Bali lovers is you tend to get the impression that it's the only place they've ever really been to. And of course nobody expects you to have travelled around the world and seen every country on earth. That's unrealistic, but let's get it straight here. It's like those people, I imagine there's a lot of them in America, where they would travel, let's say, to Jamaica. And that's your first real vacation you've ever taken outside of the US. And then once you get home, suddenly everything is about Jamaica. Isn't life so incredible in Jamaica? We did this in Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica. The same people I'll come back with, cornrows in their hair singing hat, hat, hat as they go along. For travelers who prioritize comfort and copious amount of bintang, more often than not, this is the first time they've ever really traveled outside of the first world. Naturally, such a place is a huge upgrade compared to the Brit-filled beaches of Spain. But what is it that these people really love about Bali? Is it the food? Because you already know they're not going to be eating in local restaurants, why do that? Is it the awe-inspiring landscapes? Do you really give a shit? Is it the undeniable spirituality perhaps that brought you here? Oh, I'm sure it is. If that really was the case, why wouldn't you just choose one of the other 17,000 islands that happen to be in this country? You have the entirety of Java, you have Lombok, you have Flores and Komodo Island, you even have the Gili Islands, each more unique than the last. They even share many of the features that would make Bali so appealing in the first place. Immaculate white sand beaches, luscious rainforests, and prices cheaper than even Bali's. Yet there's one noticeable thing missing. Tourists. So why not go? Why not try any of the other ones? But the problem is that requires some semblance of originality, which these people severely lack. You would actually need to have a genuine desire to travel, not just to hole up in a fancy resort. At the end of the day, why bother going anywhere else when Bali already has a myriad of overrated 5-star resorts and Western restaurants? Minimal effort, maximum satisfaction, right? For all its faults, Bali does have a redeeming quality. It's a perfect honeypot. Tourists and weekend travelers are attracted like a moth to a flame, keeping the rest of the country unscathed and untouched in their absence. But sadly, that can only last for so long. Travelling is a vicious cycle of discovery and cultural pillaging. The once hidden gem quickly becomes a poorly kept secret as fuckboys replace the trailblazing backpackers that first discovered this place. Locals see dollar signs as soon as tourism arrives and take full advantage while they can. And who can really blame them? High-rise hotels and expensive tour agencies rake in far more cash than a humble hostel or a roadside warung. In the end, it isn't Bali's fault. It was once the pinnacle of paradise and the place that everybody wanted to visit. However, it's that innate desire that has ultimately consumed everything that made it so special. Much like how Lenny aggressively cuddled the rabbit until it lay dead and useless. We just can't help ourselves. It's what we've always done and what we'll always continue to do. The question is, where next?